We are the human rights defenders, Facundo Parodi, Valeria Lin, and Francesca Pizeta. We gather here today to spread the significance of human rights. We stand here to discuss and expose the importance and the important aspects about human rights that Malala teaches us. Let's imagine there are no human rights. What will happen in our society? What do you believe it will happen in our world? Listen to our point of view. Not having human rights equals to lack of education, and not having education leads to no future. When you don't receive a proper education, you must be ignorant about many things in life, and this makes it difficult to, for example, apply for a stable job, interact with society, and basically having the opportunity to be a successful individual. Not being able to perform these activities leads to poverty, because as they won't be able to have a job or a family that provides money, they can end up living in the streets, lack of money and goods to survive. Living in the streets only worsens the problem, as no one wants a homeless person to work with, which ends in a constant circle of poverty. Lastly, not having human rights can bring social exclusion, not only in discriminating other ethnicities, but also, in extreme cases, not educated people may feel or be excluded as their communication skills will be significantly lower. So many people could end up excluding them in many ways, such as socially, politically, or culturally. If we have human rights, you can be very successful in life. Think about scientists. Thanks to their rights to education, they were able to succeed and made amazing discoveries. What would have happened if they didn't have the right to education and didn't make the essential discoveries they actually made?
Children's rights are being even more essential thanks to the government. They are the ones who regulate and protect all the children's rights. They are responsible of children's rights and must examine that none of them be taken away from children. The government's role is to stay alert that any children is not being violated. The necessity of having a government who is always alert in children's rights is not to let any agent interfere in the children's process of evolution. There are many kids who are being sexually abused, trafficked and sold, drugged and exploited, and with the government's interference in those violations towards kids, they can put an end to kids' abuse, to let them start their journey. Establishing children's rights leads to an easier path towards access to education, for example. Most children are being excluded from education by their race, their speaking language, religion, gender, way of looking, includes appearance, their way of thinking, social class, being from a rich or a poor family, or having any disability, lacking of much knowledge that they should have. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Children states no discrimination and access to education for all children. These two children's rights demonstrate the seriousness of attending education and not to be discriminated. But there are some children who cannot attend to education, so what can happen to them? Thanks for the right to education, children can spread their knowledge to those who lack the access to education by the teachings they receive. Have in mind that by accessing to education, children can also learn their rights and human rights when they grow up. Taking everything in consideration, children's rights are significant in their lives. This allows them to have the chance to change the world for a better future.
Human rights in women are being violated in some places, nowadays and before. First of all, human rights must be respected in every human being, no matter their gender. In some places, they are not being respected, for example, Afghanistan, because of the Taliban. Women are not allowed to show their faces. Also, they can't participate in the political aspects, and they are obligated to stay at homes making house chores. Secondly, women had been discriminated for centuries. Women had been discriminated in works just for being a woman. The boss or the leader didn't let them work. Also in socially aspects. For example, when a woman wanted to do something different than house labors, they are discriminated and forced to go home and work there. Lastly, in the political aspects, women all this time were politically excluded without participating in decisions that affect them in the society of the country. All things considered, the main human rights are not respected in women.
To conclude, The reason why human rights are established is not only for gaining personal self, but it's essential for the construction of society. Human rights allow the equal function of human rights. Working together, human rights are powerful.